Hi everybody, I want to talk about good riding today and what makes a good rider. And when I say rider, I'm referring to the hobby side of motorcycling, not the sports side where obviously a good rider will be the one that wins the races. But yeah, when I look at riding on the road and what I think makes a safe or a good road rider. I just realised how filthy the back of my number plate bracket is there. I'll have to get that done. Let's have a look at it. Okay, for me, one of the problems with judging whether somebody's a good road rider or not, or whether I'm a good road rider or safe rider, is that there's no particular yardstick. It's not an easy thing to measure. If we're on the sporting side, or any event that has a sporting element to it, there's usually the competitive side. So you tend to judge your performance by others in a scoring sort of session. It's quite easy to evaluate. If I shoot a higher score than somebody in golf, then generally I'll be a worse player. And if they shoot a lot less than me, then obviously they're better. And if you play games of squash, any racket sport, if they win the games, chances are people will say they're a better player than you are. But it's not that easy in motorcycling because there is no, in hobby motorcycling, there is no competitive edge to it, or there shouldn't be. So what is it? Well, how do you know you are a good or safe rider? So my sort of yardstick is, personal, is that if I can get back from a ride without having any incidents myself, where I've shocked myself, but more importantly, have I caused anybody around me to have any worry or concern, or have I shocked them in any way? Obviously on a fast motorbike you will pass people pretty quick, and to some nervous drivers or riders, they may be shocked a little bit by it. So I think it's almost impossible not to have any effect on your fellow road users on a bike. But I will try to do as little as I can to affect them. So if I come back from a ride and nobody within that sort of connection, or that I've overtaken or passed or interacted with, providing they don't remember a big blue motorbike, I've probably done okay. Nobody ever remembers the good riders or good drivers. They only remember the poor drivers. Somebody comes into work or into the pub and say, should have seen this idiot in an Audi. He did this, he did that, whatever. I'm only saying Audi because they're first in the alphabet. They'll never say, I saw some great driving, riding today, this guy did this, that and the other. It's always the bad stuff they'll remember. So the key is not be remembered by anybody. That doesn't mean to say be invisible, of course, just don't be remembered by them. And there's lots of ways we can go about doing that. We can take courses to improve it, advanced riding courses. We can spend more time in the saddle, which is a big thing of mine, spending time there. But they're slightly different, you get two slightly different things from them. You'll find with advanced courses, what you'll get is a position where you can read the road a bit better, and you shouldn't find yourself in situations that might cause a problem. Miles in the saddle tends to improve your gut reactions and allows you to deal with situations where perhaps you've missed something, or somebody's been a total idiot around you, which again you should be able to sort of like spot that. It allows you to react and deal with it. So you really need a combination of the two. And people will say to me, but you haven't done a lot of advanced or training yourself, Graham. And that's true, I haven't. I have been in driver training as a trainer myself. I've not been in any rider training. But I think because it's got more popular over the years, just at the stage now where it wouldn't suit me simply from the fact that the way I am, a bit of a control freak, and I'd probably end up just arguing with people about, that's not that important if they're a bit pedantic on things, or techniques. Some of the advanced riding will go into techniques a lot, and technique. So I always have some issues with some of the ideas they have on that. But I'm not knocking it, as I say. I think if you take up some sort of training, there's going to be something you pick up. I'll watch advanced riding videos and I'll pick holes in them, and then a few months later I might come across something on the road and I think actually that was a good point that guy made, but I may have slacked off in the past, you know. But you can't beat the miles. You just can't beat the miles on the bike, because it just sharpens up all the reactions, and it, as well as helping you deal with any danger situations that crop up, it just builds the data in your head. You notice more of situations that are developing because you've been there before, and it's up there. It's a bit like predicting the weather. You know, if there's high pressure here, low pressure there, certain type of cloud formation, the data tells them it's probably going to do this. It's a bit like that on the road. You see a car pulling out in a strange way, not looking towards you. You see some distraction to the right, and it triggers, I don't like this, because last time this happened, somebody pulled out on me, or didn't see me, or whatever. And you only build that up with the miles on the road. I've been quite fortunate. I've done quite a lot of miles on the road, probably about, I don't know, about 1 million miles probably since I had my licence. I don't think I've quite done 200,000 on the bike, because I've always been a leisure biker. I only used it for commuting when I was a kid, and about 800,000 in the car, because all my jobs have always been around being on the road. So I'm quite lucky in that regard. But I do get a little bit upset sometimes when people talk about experienced riders, and I might get a bit of flack where they'll say, well, you might have been riding 50 years, but you've probably been riding pony for 50 years because you haven't had any advanced training as such. There might be a bit of an element in that, but I think what I'm getting at is it's a combination. You know, training is going to help sharpen you up on your vision, your position, and stuff like that. And miles on the bike is going to give you that gut, that natural instinct to react to the danger. And I think that's really important. When I was teaching young drivers, what I used to find was that one of the problems they had with the early stages of driving, they couldn't read the road at all. They couldn't see an issue that was developing, and that probably you probably see that a lot even more in young motorcyclists. So it can be a bad thing to get as much training as you can in those early years. But whatever you do, don't just train and then go back next week for another session, back for another session. Got to put all that training into practice just to build up that sort of like natural instincts about problems. I'll give you a little anecdote just to finish, just to sort of like just to help concrete the instincts that you build up. And I'm sure some of you will have had this type of situation. I think I was in Germany or Belgium, somewhere like that, a few years back. I was on the Phaser-Thal, no ABS brakes. Sat-nav said straight ahead, and I'm not one to follow the sat-nav too much. I read maps, but I use the sat-nav if I get lost totally, and it brings me back to a certain point. So I'm not governed by the sat-nav. Anyway, sat-nav said straight ahead, but it looked a bit strange, the junction coming up. There was a road coming from the right, but it wasn't obvious that that road coming from the right had priority, and it was about to come round in front of me. I was going ahead, it looked like I had priority. So anyway, cut long story short, it wasn't until the last minute I realised that it wasn't a straight ahead with priority for me. It was actually a road that was coming off from this bend. This car appeared in front of me, and I thought, I'm going to hit him. Hit the brakes hard, too hard, panic, felt the front wheel lock, and at that point, and I don't know how these things happen in a fraction of a second, how much can go through your head. At that point I realised the front had gone because I'd felt it a few times before over the years. And I managed to let go of the brake, but of course now I'm heading straight for the car. And in that time of thinking, I must let go of the brake to stop the front washing, I had in my head jumping off my bike onto his bonnet, rolling across his roof in a split second. Now luckily, he didn't panic, he didn't brake, he put a bit of gas on and he got away from me. So I just didn't catch his back end, but must have missed it by a couple of inches. And that purely was down, I think, to me realising I had a problem and being quick enough to react to it. And I think that did save me there. And I'm pretty convinced that no amount of training could have explained that to you. It was just a pure feel from the bike. And I mentioned that, don't I? You know, more miles on the bike, more feel for what it's doing when it's in trouble and what may get you out of it. I was in a position there where I was either going to fall off with a locked up brake, or I was going to crash into the car. So it was, I don't know, it's just an instant reaction, and luckily I got away with it. So by all means, if you get a chance to do some training and you're into it, go for it, but really get some miles under your belt, get the miles on the bike, and you will get safer, you'll get sharper, and hopefully, as they say, you'll enjoy the riding a lot more. Although when people say you'll enjoy riding a lot more, I mean, I don't know, you can't like riding motorbikes, you know, but it's been my life, so I'll ride anything, anytime, and I think I'll always enjoy it. So, as I say, that's just my tuppence worth on safe riding, and I'll catch you later. Bye.